Happiness and joy. Do you know the difference? And do you know when you have it or when you see it? I think of it this way. Happiness is when we're flying high around our circumstances. For me, that happens when everything is going right. I succeeded at a big project that I've been working on. I'm having a good hair day. My youngest son eats his food rather than wears his food. I mean, that is happiness right there. But what I've learned about happiness, and chances are you've learned this too, it does not last. I mean, sometimes I don't succeed at the project and my hair doesn't look right and my son doesn't eat his food, but he just throws it on me instead. So what do you do then? What happens when happiness just packs its bags and takes a hike? I think about this story in the Bible. There's a guy named Nehemiah who had a big job to do. He was rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem, the city for God's chosen people, and he was doing it all without machinery like bulldozers and cranes. I mean, it was a lot of work, and he faced lots of opposition. There was no way that he was happy most days. But because he knew that God had asked him to take on this task, he wasn't deterred. He just dug in. He kept going. And when it was all over, he was able to tell the Israelites, the joy of the Lord is their strength. Think about this. Nehemiah did not draw on his circumstances for his happiness. He drew from his source. That's where he found his joy. He didn't let others tear him down. He trusted God with what really mattered, God's approval, not other people's approval, and he kept pushing through. He had this joy knowing that he was working for the Lord, and that joy sustained him. So when everyone else around him started giving into fear, he chose faith. I mean, Nehemiah focused on God's faithfulness. He encouraged people to keep praising him and relying on God's wisdom and not theirs, that ultimately that led to joy. And what I've learned is that happiness is fleeting, but joy is forever. And that's why I'm so grateful that as a follower of Jesus, I don't have to place my hope in a happiness that's fleeting, but instead I can place it in the joy of knowing Jesus, the author and the perfecter of our faith, and that joy is forever. Pastor Mark often says the best day for somebody who doesn't know Jesus is still worse than the worst day that someone who does know Jesus has. And I know that's a lot to think about, and it seems kind of jarring, but it is true. Because like Nehemiah, as followers of Jesus, we have a joy that's everlasting. We can endure hard things. We can keep our faith. We can be confident that we will win in the end because our eternal future is secure because we're saved by the source, Jesus Christ himself. And so this week, I want to encourage you, find your strength, not in what's happening around you, but in God who's the source of it all. Pray for the people in your life who don't yet know Jesus. Invite them to a weekend gathering so that they can experience the same forever joy that you get to experience every day. I mean, nothing brings our Father in heaven more joy than seeing someone turn from life without Jesus to life with him. That happiness thing, it's fleeting, but joy is forever. So which will you choose this week?
Thanks so much for tuning in to Thought in 3. If you enjoyed this content, make sure you subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with everything happening at The Journey.